I feel I've known you all my life.
Oh,
because
really?
my kids are fans of all your projects.
Oh,
so.
that's so sweet.
I don't really like his.
Yeah.
No, you don't watch? No Guardian of the Galaxy in your...
Oh, awful.
Days of the Void.
worst out stuff.
Everyone else is great in it though.
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen it?
Dave
You've
Bautista.
still seen it?
I've seen
He
it,
actually
yeah.
hasn't seen that one.
I actually haven't.
He actually hasn't seen it.
Well, now, have you seen their demo?
I've actually seen it. Yeah, I have. I watched it.
Have you seen Daredevil? Oh, weird.
Not interested.
It's on Netflix, it's easier.
Yeah, exactly. Stand down theory. Stand down theory.
What is it?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I do
Well-
like. I prefer Hereditary to Midsommar.
Good to know.
Oh, okay, well, that's he likes terror.
Life a la Latina presenta Socialiciando. Sí, Socialiciando. Con Alicia Civita.
See, me and my friends here, we're talking movies, they're teasing each other. They have the same tattoo. I was told you can show it to me.
Yes, maybe not. It's
No,
on my arm. It's on
no,
my bicep.
they're keeping it a mystery.
But
What's not a mystery, to be honest, is how incredible you were in this movie.
Thank you.
A powerful movie. What impacted me the most about your performances is that there is not a lot of dialogue, but you guys with your face and the body language even convey the importance, the brotherhood, and all the feelings. I feel in a way you were suffering, you were trauma, and you were fear in your roles. Can you tell me a little bit how was the casting? Because I was asking Ray, you guys got the internet favorite boyfriends. How did this get to you?
The main focus with the casting, like virtually every aspect of this film, in the context of other war films, which there are many really good ones, but this one feels quite unique in terms of how it kind of broke some of the conventions and challenged the sort of Hollywood grammar of how film is depicted on screen and told, and that kind of started with the casting. So quite often in some of these other films that I'm kind of referring to, young service people are played often by actors who are typically a little bit older than maybe they would be, or certainly look older. So like guys who are in their sort of I would say 30s and sometimes even older. And actually what is slightly more true, certainly of this event and of kind of service people in general in these environments and during this time period, is that they were sort of in their early 20s. So I think that one of the goals with the casting was to try and cast guys who certainly either were or looked the age of the individuals that they were representing at that time.
So when you guys went to the warehouse in North London to film this, as you can see, I learned my English in the UK. So it's good.
Yeah, it's good.
How was the transition from filming in such a traumatic situation? Just the sound, I think, is kind of traumatic. To go back to the hotel, to go home in your cases, and unpack. How difficult was the process?
Well, we were all staying together in the same hotel, which was incredibly beneficial for us all in that regard, because it meant that if there were days that we maybe were feeling the weight of the project a little bit heavier than other days, then we had each other to lean on, and we had, as you mentioned, that brotherhood that we had very naturally built over the boot camp and throughout the filming. So it meant that as we approached some of those trickier scenes and some of those heavier scenes, even just some of those more physically and mentally exhausting scenes, where ordinarily, the idea of doing a long day of work and then coming back and being surrounded by the people that you have been working with for the last, couple of weeks, ordinarily on a job or in day-to-day life, that sounds a little bit awful. Whereas the fact that we had this love for one another and this support system that we had built, I think that, it felt very, we felt supported, we felt held,
Something that seemed very interesting to me is that the only music in the movie was the music video in which it humanizes and connects your characters to everybody else. But I'm sure, although the movie's musicless, your lives were filled with music when you were not filming. And I want to know what was the soundtrack of that hotel and the boot camp.
Wow.
Good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, I had an album that I would listen to in my trailer before, and we had shared an album.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of servicemen at the time listened to, you know, some metal and definitely hard rock and AC/DC. We had some rap in that like 2006 sort of
that
era
kind of era.
genre, right? So like a lot of things from that kind of 2006 year. And so we would listen to that for sure when working out.
Yeah, we'd often play that during like PT sessions and stuff.
Any music song in particular?
Oh my gosh, there was some Beastie Boys that I really
Yeah, I
enjoyed
remember
in
the Beastie
general.
Boys, yeah. I remember
What's the name of the rotation?
We would also sing.
we would sing a lot.
Also sing a lot of Zach Bryan.
Yeah,
And,
Zach Bryan.
carry on.
My Wayward Son. We'd sing that as well as like quartet vibes.
We get some
Yeah.
harmonies going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was again bonding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You make a really interesting point about the lack of music in the film as well, because I think score is often something that is used to sort of try and elicit a certain emotional response from the audience. You made a great point about the fact that like this film doesn't patronize audiences at all, or even try and lead them to feel a certain way. It gives audiences the sort of freedom to make up their own mind about what they're seeing, and it's not trying to influence their emotional response with music. It's scoreless, and I think that's one of the strengths of the film.
That's an Alex Garland signature in a way. But I feel that when, as a journalist, I don't think that objectivity exists, because you choose what to show.
Right.
Although you may show it as neutral as possible, you're still choosing.
Good
So I
point.
want to know for you guys personally, you guys were babies if you were born by the time this was happening. I think all of you were born, but you were 2.
Yeah,
Something like that. What is your takeaway now, knowing what you know about the wars, the times we're living on? Because to me, it changed. I mean, of course, I was an adult, but it sensibilized me to a extreme point, and I'm sure that for you guys was life changing.
Yeah, I mean, it truly was life changing, and I believe that not only, you know, there's multiple intentions for the film, and one was for Elliot, mostly for Elliot to see what had happened to him, but I think a big part was that the film, you know, these scenarios, they're very hard to explain, especially when you come home, and very, very hard to explain what has happened, what it was like to your family members, and it's hard for service men and women to sort of articulate it. And so I know that Ray's, you know, one of Ray's real wants was to sort of make a film where people could say, if you want to know what it was like this is what it was like. And so I think, like the audience, we learned what it was like in a small degree. You know, we could have never known, we could have never really understood. So in a very small degree, it just sort of informs you on just how tragic and hard these scenarios are.
Yeah, I also think it just highlights the weight of war, you know, and one of the big things that Ray talks about a lot is, you know, this isn't a film about the people who, you know, make that decision to send people to war, but I think it's a very important film for, you know, those people to watch and everyone to watch. It shows everyone the weight of war for all parties, everyone involved.
It's all about consequences, right?
It's the consequences, and if you're going to send people to war, then you should know the weight. And I think this film gives you probably the closest, from my knowledge, probably the closest sort of feet on the ground perspective of what it is to be in that environment. And I think that's why it's such an important.
I agree with you. To me, it's an hour and a half long, the first scene of Saving Private Ryan. That was to me the feeling that I got. I thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna ask you to sing now. I'm kidding. But it was so great to meet you and to see your work. I cannot wait to see what you do next.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.